Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Chair of Legal Services NYC, Bill Russell.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Bill Russell, and I'm honored to serve as the Board Chair of Legal Services NYC. Happy St. Patrick's Day. And as my Irish ancestors would have said, Céad Míle Fáilte, which is Irish for 100,000 welcomes. That's a particularly appropriate way to welcome all of you on behalf of Legal Services NYC, its board, and its lawyers and staff to the 2022 Jazz for Justice Gala. It's particularly appropriate not just because today is St. Patrick's Day, but also because after 2 years of virtual events, it's wonderful to finally be able to gather together in person. And I think that's certainly worth not just one welcome, but 100,000 welcomes. So we're all gratified. We're all gratified to be able to gather together with our friends in person to recognize our honorees and to celebrate the tremendous work of the lawyers and staff at Legal Services NYC, whose fight for justice has been particularly challenging during these past 2 years of pandemic. This is the 17th year we've hosted Jazz for Justice, and the first time we've been together live since 2019. While we were still entertained by some terrific jazz performances during our virtual events, I'm excited to listen to the Dennis Lickman Hot-Tet perform live for us this evening. And, in honor of St. Patrick's Day, there'll be a special performance by Caitlin Warbellaw on the fiddle. Before we continue our dinner course, there are a number of people who I would like to thank. First of all, I'd like to thank our terrific honorees. Lucy Fato, the Executive Vice President. The Executive Vice President, General Counsel, and Global Head of Communications and Government Affairs at AIG, and my law school classmate, Eric Dinallo, Chair of the Insurance Regulatory Practice at Debevoise Plimpton, for all that they've done to further the cause of access to justice and for all the support they provided to Legal Services NYC. You'll be hearing a lot more about both of them and their contributions later in the program. I also want to thank our Executive Director, Ron Rasmussen, for his tireless leadership of the organization. Particularly during the past 2 years that have presented so many challenges to Legal Services NYC and to the clients whom we ably serve. I'd like to thank the members of our benefit committee who worked together with the Legal Services NYC staff to put together this terrific event, which would not have been nearly successful without your help and support. I'd also like to thank the lawyers and staff at Legal Services NYC. We're here this evening in large part to celebrate you and the tremendous work that all of you perform every day, helping more than 100,000 New Yorkers each year fight for their rights to obtain and enjoy the basic necessities of life. All of you have risen to the challenge, the particular challenges of the past 2 years, and have continued to serve the needs of our clients when they've been at their most vulnerable. Finally, I'd like to thank all of you who joined us here tonight to support the efforts of Legal Services NYC and the most important fight any of us can engage in, the fight for justice. Now, I realize I'm the only thing standing between you and the main course, but I do have one last thing to say. You may have noticed on your tables there are pledge cards, and I encourage you to fill them out and make a personal contribution to support the work of Legal Services NYC in their fight for justice. There'll be members of the Legal Services NYC staff collecting them at the door on your way out. And as a token of our thanks for coming out to support us tonight, please take with you at the end of the evening the Legal Services NYC umbrellas that'll be at the door as well. Particularly useful on a rainy March night like tonight. So listen, we can't do what we do without your support. So on behalf of Legal Services NYC, and more importantly, on behalf of the more than 100,000 New Yorkers whom we assist every year, thank you again. Enjoy your dinner.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Susan Giddes.
Good evening. It has been a while since I have been in a room with this many people. It is lovely to see you all. And there's really no better occasion than honoring this wonderful organization, Lucy, and especially my friend and partner, Eric Dinallo. Eric has a long history of public service to this city and this state. It began early in his career when he served for 4 years as an ADA in the Manhattan DA's office, and then as chief of the Investor Protection Bureau of the New York Attorney General's office. He then spent a few years working in-house for Morgan Stanley, and then as general counsel of Willis Group. Eric's timing was then impeccable. He moved on to become the New York Superintendent of Insurance right before the financial crisis. In this role, Eric was named Dealmaker of the Year for his work in the aftermath of the 2008 crisis. He also earned national acclaim for leading successful negotiations between developers and insurance companies over the World Trade Center site. Eric, not one to rest on his laurels, then became a primary candidate for New York Attorney General in 2010. New York's loss was Debevoise's gain, as we were then lucky enough to have Eric join us as a partner at Debevoise Plimpton. In 2017, Eric left Debevoise to become general counsel of Guardian, where he led the company's legal, regulatory, compliance, and government relations functions, as well as its corporate governance activities. At Guardian, unsurprisingly, he was honored again for his leadership. In 2020, we were lucky enough to have Eric rejoin us at Debevoise, where he's now the head of the Insurance Regulatory Group. Eric, always with impeccable timing, joined Debevoise right at the start of COVID and has been a thought leader on the effects of the pandemic on financial services companies. I have many fond memories of him appearing on CNBC from his home studio in the early days of the pandemic. Eric is a natural honoree for an organization as wonderful as Legal Services NYC. To brag for a moment, he is a native New Yorker. He's an avid comic book collector. He was famous at Debevoise in his first stint at the firm for having a massive fish tank in his office. And he even made news in 2015 for actually saving the life of a man who had fallen onto the subway tracks at 23rd and 6th. Eric epitomizes much of what LSNYC stands for. He is a person you'd want in your corner during a crisis, as he helps his clients, whether they're insurance companies or state agencies, through challenging times with skill and humanity and decency. I'm very proud to present this award to my friend and colleague for his public service, Eric Dinallo.
It's going to take me a second to get over that, because as Susan is always such a warm and generous partner and colleague, that was possibly the best things that anyone's ever said about my professional and personal career, and I just want to thank her so very, very much. It's really, I'm actually moved. Thank you. And it's so appropriate that Susan is now so involved with LSNY. You know, it's been a long tradition at the firm. It goes back to John Kiernan, Joe Moody, who's here, Will Taft and Susan being the next generation. And it really is just a fantastic partnership. And at Debevoise, we prize what this organization does. It's everything that we want to support and stand for in the world of public interest and helping others. And so I just will tell you that you couldn't have a better participant from Debevoise and more support from us. And I feel like she epitomizes what we want to bring to you as an organization. And you see her now kind of as a rising superstar in the litigation area, and I talk with her and get advice all the time, and she ghost writes all my legal work because, you know, she's the best. And I want to acknowledge someone else because I feel like while I'm up here being honored, I'm really receiving this honor on behalf of Debevoise and to some degree everyone here who supports the organization. It's great to be honored, it's a great privilege, but I really feel like I'm here to acknowledge. And I just want to thank and call out my co-honoree, Lucy. She's an absolutely fabulous person. I'm going to share something a little bit personal. I've known her for many years. We've been friends for many years. You couldn't have a more fierce, principled, loyal friend standing with you. And she's done something that has been really impactful on me. Many of you know that I'm a lifelong stutterer. I'm involved with the American Institute for Stuttering. And Lucy in particular, both professionally and personally, has really been in my corner and encouraged me to go out there, continue to talk about it, continue to grow. And I could not have a better friend on that point that, of course, is very important to me. And like my family and like my friends and my wife and my children and my parents, she and other friends, but she's been especially impactful as a professional and a colleague, and I just want to publicly thank her for that. And of course, I want to thank and honor LSNY. I just can't believe what an incredible organization this is. Every single day, you do transformational work for people and who otherwise would be without any counsel, and absolutely 99 out of 100 times come out far worse because of it. You are there at their most critically difficult moments. You transform lives every day. That 100,000 statistic is just very hard for me to get my head around. And I just want to congratulate the organization. I want to thank Bill and Ron and Tanya for everything that you do, and the whole of Legal Services NYC. You are a very, very, very special, if not unique, organization that makes New York City and the citizens and others here all the better, and it's just absolutely phenomenal what you achieve. And I want to thank you, and Debevoise is with you. And then finally, I just wanted, Ron and Tanya asked me to share this with you, and so I will. I'll feel comfortable doing this. I think it's important that I make this appeal. When I was a young lawyer, I was, it was harder for me to be in the courtroom, and Bill remembers me as a law student, and there were a lot of challenges. Yet I really wanted to do pro bono work. I felt committed to helping others and improving myself as a practitioner. I wanted to become a trial lawyer, and I demanded, almost on the cusp of hubris and kind of foolhardiness, important pro bono work when I was a very young associate. And it was transformational. I went in the courtrooms for the first time. The first time I turned around and lost my lunch in the bathroom, absolutely, it happened. Well, look, if it happened to Bill Russell before every basketball championship, I guess I'm in good company, but it absolutely was scary. But it transformed me as a person and a practitioner to help others, made me a better person. And so I want to make that appeal to the young lawyers here. I think it's super important, and today you are as young as you will ever be, to state the obvious. And so now is the time. You've got the energy, the confidence, the support of your companies and your firms, and I guarantee you, you will come away a different person and a different professional, almost certainly for the better, and you will also help change lives. And that is what makes me so amazed with the organization and really envious, is the people and the professionals and the lawyers at LSNY get to do that every single day. It's absolutely amazing. Congratulations, and thank you again from Debevoise and everyone here. It's a wonderful, wonderful organization.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Denise Akron.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Denise Akron. I am the Director of the Government Benefits Unit at Manhattan Legal Services. And my colleagues will tell you I'm very shy, so deal with me right now. Which is false, it's very false. I am here today to introduce the video for the Benefits Unit and about the pro bono work that we have done in the past year during the pandemic. Let me explain to you a little bit of what the Benefits Unit does. The Benefits Unit throughout the city, not just Manhattan, but throughout the city, what we do is that we represent clients and different cases concerning benefits. What are benefits? Benefits include welfare, food stamps, Medicaid, Medicare, Women, Infants, Children Supplement Program, and other programs that help people become economically stable. We do this on a daily basis. We help clients when they need to fight for their benefits, when their cases have been closed erroneously, when their applications have been denied, or when their benefits are inadequate. All of these things happen on a daily basis, but I will say that during the pandemic, this expanded exponentially. Our cases pretty much overnight tripled. Many people lost their jobs and could not afford to support themselves. So what did they do? They reached out to legal services for help. While my colleagues and I were able to help as many as we could, we realized rather quickly that we couldn't help as many people as we needed. So with the help of the pro bono unit at Legal Services, we partnered with different firms to help us with helping these clients. We formed a pro bono clinic, not only that helped clients when they were calling in to apply for different benefits, including food stamps, welfare, as well as housing subsidies that would help people stay in their homes, and emergency grants that would help people as well avoid eviction. With the help of the many different pro bono attorneys that came to help us during this time, we were able to help so many clients, over hundreds of clients, through this clinic. I'll give you a few examples. One of the cases that we did have was a single mother of an infant who had to move into a domestic violence shelter during the height of the pandemic. She had no money, she had no help, and she called us wishing that wanting to apply for benefits. She had tried to apply for benefits on her own and she could not do it. With the help of the pro bono attorney that was assigned to her case, we not only were able to help her apply and get approved for cash assistance, we were also able to help her get a housing voucher to help her move out of the domestic violence shelter that she was in. Another case that we had was a single father who lost his partner due to COVID during the pandemic, and he was left to raise his 2-year-old son by himself. He was homeless, he needed help. He called us because he had tried so many times to apply for benefits, and our Human Resources Administration, refused to add his son to his case. By calling us and partnering with a pro bono attorney once again, he was able to get his son added to his case and also get the Medicaid benefits that the son direly so needed during this time. So I do say that, our colleagues, we work tirelessly, but with the help of the pro bono attorneys that helped us during this time, the idea that we were able to help even more so clients during this time was really, really helpful. So please sit back and enjoy the video that you're about to see. Do not laugh at my appearance, but you will see it. Thank you. Have a good day.
After the pandemic hit, we were overwhelmed with callers who were desperate for legal help to just meet basic needs. So many people, so many hourly workers had lost their jobs. Some of them had never been eligible for benefits like food stamps before. So people were really in a desperate place.
I was numb. I went into depression. The feeling that tomorrow you might not be in your apartment. I didn't know the process. I never been through this, so I never knew.
There's so many layers to the system, so many regulations and laws that have to be checked off before benefits are issued for people.
I don't know what legal services did, but they pulled a miracle.
We were getting over 100 calls a day. That far outstripped our ability to meet that demand.
We stood up a public benefits application clinic, which was really one of the first public benefits related pro bono projects of scale in the city.
It was very humbling to work with a lot of my clients because the pandemic for me, working from home was a pain at times, but it really, it sucked not being able to go out to restaurants. It's a lot different than losing your job and not having any source of income and falling behind on your rent and having medical expenses because you have symptoms from long COVID. Being put in that hole and not knowing how to get out, LSNYC providing them that ladder, so to speak, is huge.
It's kind of a once-in-a-lifetime benefit. People can get, $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 of back rent paid by the government, but there were some really significant hitches to it. We were asking some of the most vulnerable people in the city, people with the least access to technology, many of them elderly, to try to access a website that was really confusing and figure out how to upload documents through an app. It just wasn't realistic.
In light of the success of our public benefits applications clinic, and when the ERAP program began in 2021, we already had the know-how. We had the infrastructure, we knew how to work with pro bono partners on applications, and we knew that ERAP would help our clients, remain housed.
LSNYC does a great job walking through exactly what happens. They have a really nice detailed PowerPoint. And then afterwards, the clients are ready and waiting for our calls.
LSNYC is not only helping these pro bono clients, they're also helping me in a way that I can feel connected to my community without feeling overwhelmed of the effort I would have to do if I wanted to do this by myself. I would basically have to quit my job.
So the same day I was dealing with legal services, and that same day they got me a lawyer to assist me with the case. It feels good knowing that I don't have eviction and none of that in the back of me, so it's kind of good. And it came handy in a time of need.
We wouldn't have been able to get to nearly as many people without pro bono.
So many more corporations are doing pro bono, and as word spreads, more people are coming to the table.
A lot of us, have the ability ourselves to obtain justice. LSNYC's clients need the assistance of a lawyer but can't afford one. And so your support for LSNYC is giving support to the people in our community who need it the most.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Ronan Hardy.
Good evening, everyone. I'd first like to ask, after watching that absolutely terrific video, all of the LSNYC benefits attorneys and all of the pro bono partners that worked with them, if they could please stand and be acknowledged for the terrific, tremendous work that they've done. As someone who spent my first 21 years in Ireland, that brings me back. So as Bill said at the beginning, I would just like to join in that to say just how terrific it is to be back together in person and to express my admiration for everything that LSNYC does. And it's my great privilege this evening to introduce a person who is the reason that many of us are here and who we have come to honor, my former partner, Lucy Fato. We honor her for her commitment to helping those in need and those who need the help most, giving of her talent, her resources, and her time. I know that Lucy is known to many of you, but let me give you a very brief tour through some of the public facts and then perhaps some of the lesser known facts. After getting her JD from the University of Pittsburgh, she joined Davis Polk in 1991. She became a partner in 2000 in the Capital Markets Group and always had a reputation as being a problem solver. That talent was obviously recognized by Marsh McLennan in 2005 when they hired her to become their Deputy General Counsel. It was recognized again when in 2014, when she became General Counsel at McGraw-Hill Financial, which owns Standard & Poor's, among other things. And again in 2017, when she took up the position that she currently holds as the Executive Vice President and General Counsel at AIG, reporting directly to the CEO. Now, AIG is a special company in the pro bono sphere. They have a dedicated pro bono coordinator, one of only a handful of companies to have such a position. And literally thousands of AIG employees around the globe devote thousands of hours of free legal services since their program's inception in 2012. AIG has worked regularly with LSNYC, even during the pandemic, and most recently teaming up to hold an asylum clinic for LGBTQ and HIV-positive clients who face persecution in their home countries. And I know that that partnership will continue. Lucy also serves on the boards of several well-known charitable organizations, including the Coalition for the Homeless, Advocates for Children, and the Randalls Park Alliance. And that's the public, Lucy, but then there's a lot that isn't visible. I did ask her, she did not save anyone who had been pushed onto a subway track, so I can't top that. However, did you know that she helped Tilda Swinton win an Oscar for her role in Michael Clayton by showing Tilda how to be a real lawyer? And Tilda never even mentioned it in her acceptance speech. Lucy and her husband were featured in a reality TV show. She may mention that. She has an incredible eye for style, even on an Irish weather day like today. She's extremely close to her family, both here and in Italy, and spent a decade trying to restore her grandmother's farmhouse in the Italian countryside to keep it in the family. And she's extremely supportive of and a mentor of many women in the legal profession who in turn admire her for being a warm, genuinely caring, extremely accomplished, and yet extremely down-to-earth person. For all these reasons, it is my great honor and pleasure to give the Pro Bono Award and to introduce to you tonight in person 2022 LSNYC Jazz for Justice honoree Lucy Fato.
Oh, wow, it's bright. So nice to be here. So, first of all, I am so happy to be somewhere where no one has yet said, "You're on mute." So I have to get one thing out of the way because someone over there made me a $100 bet and dared me to say something that she didn't think I would say, and I'm going to say it. My dear friend and fellow colleague, both at Marsh McLennan and at S&P for a short period of time, Kate Brennan, who's over there, was named the general counsel of Marsh McLennan last week after her predecessor, who many of you I'm sure know, Peter Bashar, was confirmed as the general counsel of the Air Force. I hired Kate at MMC back in 2008, and I am just delighted to have another woman in the general counsel community. So congratulations, Kate. We'll settle up later. Honestly, it's really, really nice to be here, and I have got to thank my dear friend Eric Dinallo, who I just adore. He really is a very, very special person. He's been an enormous help to me at AIG as a former regulator in the insurance industry with great relationships. He's not just a great advisor, he's a great psychologist. For those of you who have dealt with regulators, I think you know what I'm talking about. He talks me off the ledge, scrapes me off the roof. But I really just really admire him for a lot of reasons, and I was just delighted when I heard he was a co-honoree. So congratulations, Eric, and thank you for all the kind words you said. You know, it's very strange to be here at an in-person event. It's my first one, I think, since COVID. And, you know, with everything going on in the world, I feel, you know, very privileged to even be here in New York City, to be able to come to a beautiful place like this, to be surrounded by so many old friends and colleagues. I'm so grateful to Ronan and Davis Polk for their support and asking me to be the honoree. I saw people tonight from Davis Polk that I've known since I was a summer associate there in 1990, I'm afraid to say. So that's been such a treat. Some of my friends from Marsh McLennan, and And obviously, my colleagues, there are many AIG colleagues here tonight, so I thank you all for being here. And really to all the law firms and others that bought tables, it really means a lot when people do that. And I always say this to people, I always say when I do these things, I'm not gonna do them anymore because I feel like the Oprah Winfrey, when she was winning the daytime Emmys every year and she finally took her name out of contention, because I feel like because of AIG and the platform it gives me and our fabulous pro bono program that I had the good fortune to inherit, that I get asked to do a lot of these events. Oftentimes our pro bono program is honored, sometimes it's me personally, but I feel like we're constantly going out to all of you and asking you for money, so I sometimes feel guilty. And then I see videos and all the wonderful people that spend their days doing this tremendous work, and it makes me rethink whether I should stop doing it because I think they're such great causes. So I really want to thank everyone here who made the effort to donate and actually come in person. So thank you for that. And, you know, like Eric, I spent some time educating myself. I was always familiar with legal services and what it does, but I spent some time really trying to understand better all the services, and I was really astounded when I saw how much the organization does to help people who are really in so much need. And again, when I think about, you know, what's going on in the Ukraine right now, to think that we have people suffering like that here in New York City is just, you know, just tragic, really, when you think about it. So I want to thank all the people, again, who do that every day, day in and day out. You're really making a difference in people's lives. And, you know, hearing the word help and being helpers, many of you know this about me. Ronan mentioned it. I was born and raised in Pittsburgh, and I had, bless you, and I had the good fortune of, I hope you don't have COVID. She sneezed, so everybody knows. Let's just hope we all go home with just an umbrella tonight. That's all I'm gonna say about that. But I had the good fortune of growing up in Pittsburgh, which was the home of Fred Rogers, Mr. Rogers. And we used to go on field trips, we'd get to meet him, we got to see his set, and he was an amazing human being. And I talk about this a lot when I run legal departments, and I always say to people, you know, as lawyers, I think we're very fortunate because we help people, you know, whether it's on the pro bono side or in a corporation or at a law firm. And there's a great quote from Mr. Rogers where he talks about his mother, who had a big influence in his life and why he went into education and child development. And I keep his quote on my desk at work, and the quote is, you know, my mother always told me that when you see scary things, look for the helpers. There's always someone looking to help. And so I think the people at this organization, you know, are living and breathing examples of helpers like that, seeing scary things, really upsetting things, really, really hard things, and stepping up and helping. And so that quote from Mr. Rogers always stuck with me since I was a little girl, and it just sort of came back to me tonight when I heard the speeches and saw the videos. So it's really, again, I just want to thank everyone. It really is amazing to be here with people in person. I'm still kind of like taking it all in. I had to walk in my shoes for a little bit today because I haven't really gotten dressed up or worn heels in a while. So that was a nice experience that I don't necessarily need to repeat anytime soon, but I'm glad it's like riding a bike. But anyway, I don't want to keep people from dessert and coffee, but again, I want to thank everybody here, all of my friends, all of my colleagues, all the law firms that are here, and also everybody who does pro bono work, whether you're with an organization that's a nonprofit or at a law firm or a corporation. It's really important work, and we need to do it even more now than ever before. So thank you again very much, and I hope everyone gets home safely and in good health. Thank you.
Legal Services NYC is the largest provider of free civil legal services in the country. Education is one of the most important areas of our practice. Our education advocates have been doing this work for several decades now to help low-income New York kids get access to the best possible education that they can get. What we've seen during COVID is that with literally hundreds of thousands of kids being required to learn from their homes, low-income kids have less access to the technology that they need in order to get the educations that they need.
The Department of Education decided that they would provide students who needed it with devices to learn at home. There were students who months later still hadn't received a device, so this whole time they're just missing school.
There are students who were doing remote learning on their parents' cell phones. There were students who were using their parents' cell phones as hotspots.
Mi niño sufría mucho y lloraba porque decía, mami, yo no me quiero quedarme encerrado. O sea, mi hijo, pero ¿qué puedes hacer? No fue por culpa tuya, fue la computadora. No, por esta pandemia no podías irte a la escuela, pero mami, yo no tengo la culpa. Yo digo, yo sé, se sentía el culpable diciendo que era por él, pero no era por él, sino era por las computadoras, o sea que nadie me ayudó a chequear ni a ver.
This is something that's an ongoing need in the day and age that we live in. Children rely upon computers and technology to do their homework, to communicate with their teachers.
It's certainly a systemic issue, and we hope this case will bring systemic relief.
The New York State Constitution mandates a sound and basic education for all students. My hope is that our work at LSNYC helps to level the playing field a little bit for people. But more importantly, I think that it empowers children and youth. It helps them to know their rights. It helps their families to know their rights.
These are students who had been assaulted by fellow students at the school, and their pleas for help from the teachers and administrators had been ignored, both before and after the assault. The families were left with no direction on how to protect their children.
One of our clients was a 6th grader who had been sexually assaulted for months by a student. The school was not really doing anything about it.
As a result of the school's neglect and failure to address any of the harassment, the student was subsequently raped on school grounds by the student that had been harassing her.
This school never informed the mother about everything that was going on in the building, and when the mother finally found out, the school said there was nothing they could do about it. Oftentimes, schools don't take complaints from students with disabilities seriously.
The boy took my daughter to the garage. My daughter say he took my daughter's pants off. After that, she afraid to to go out by herself. She said, "I'm scared to go out. I'm scared to see the boy."
The school had said, they didn't have any responsibility or accountability. They advised that she should go to the police. She then went to the police, and the police then sort of shuttled her back and saying, "No, it's the school's problem. This involves another student. You need to bring it up with the school."
I feel shocked. Why school didn't do enough protection to help my daughter? They didn't do their job.
They're kids. At the end of the day, these are kids. And if no one is looking out to protect these children, we've done something wrong.
I want to say thank you very much for legal service help me and my daughter. I feel very happy with to get the support.
Ladies and gentlemen, Please welcome Legal Services NYC's Executive Director, Ron Rasmussen.
Wow, that was intense. I was going to start by saying how thrilled I was to be here tonight, and I am, but that was quite moving. And it is wonderful to be here tonight and to see so many of you in person. I want to start with the obvious. This has been a rough 2 years. I want to thank personally every staff member who's in the room, every staff member who couldn't be here tonight. The amazing work that you've heard about tonight has been done by people who fought illness, lost family members, worked while homeschooling their kids, and through it all never lost sight of those who had it hardest of all, our clients. Please join me, I know we've done it before, but I want to do it again, in honoring our entire staff for the work that they've done and continue to do every day to make New York City a better place for all of us. Will you please stand, staff around the room? Come on, stand up. Yeah, come on, come on, come on. Yes, there's more. You're all sprinkled around, I know you are. Come on. Thank you, thank you. Okay, cool. And lest I be outdone by Bill, que admila huecas. I'm told by Google that that means 100,000 thanks. Not welcomes, but thanks in Irish. So what you just saw on the video is what we do best. We provide legal services that solve the heart-wrenching problems that our clients experience every day. And we also bring affirmative litigation to create system-wide changes to the laws, practices, and policies that hurt our clients and hold them back. I'm especially pleased tonight to bring attention to the work that our staff does to help children and young adults get access to the services they need to succeed in school. As the New York City Commission for Economic Opportunity stated several years ago, the surest way for a person who's born into poverty to rise out of it is to succeed at school. Of course, no one can learn if they don't feel safe. When our advocates learned that young children were being sexually harassed and attacked in their schools, they were shocked and outraged. But when they learned that those children had tried to report their harassment and get protection from their teachers and principals in schools, only to be turned away repeatedly, they knew we had to take action. Our federal court case, co-counseled with a team from Arnold and Porter, led to changes to the public school system that have made it safe for tens of thousands of young students. As you also heard, the pandemic has shone a harsh spotlight on the so-called digital divide. We've known for years that low-income communities lack the technology and internet connectivity that most of us take for granted. But until the pandemic, we thought that meant that some people couldn't watch the same TV shows that we could, or shop easily on the internet. Now, we've seen that the digital divide has made it much more difficult, and sometimes impossible, to get access to daily school lessons. I know that many of you have worked over the past 2 years to help your kids connect to classrooms and lessons. And I'm sure that many of you suffered through occasional bad connections, links that won't work, sound that won't come on, etc., etc., etc. But imagine trying to spend the day with your children connecting to their classrooms only by phone, or with a tablet that malfunctions, or not being able to connect at all. Tens of thousands of New York City kids have lost valuable months of learning. And although we're now back to in-person learning, we can't let this happen ever again. Although I'm so pleased to be able to focus on our education advocacy this evening, it's equally important to note that all of our services are critical if we're truly to help children succeed. If you're constantly facing the pressure of poverty, if your family's threatened with eviction, or your apartment has no heat or hot water, if you're in a household with domestic violence, or if your immigration status means that you fear interacting with public agencies, you're not going to be able to bring your best to school. You might not be able to even go to school. And you're certainly not going to be able to bring your best to school and will have an excruciatingly difficult time learning. So we do our best to meet all the legal needs of low-income New Yorkers through our eviction and foreclosure prevention work and our work to increase and stabilize incomes that you heard about earlier, to find safety and resources for survivors of domestic violence, and to adjust immigration status so that families can live safely and without fear. But we only have the resources to address a small fraction of the need. So thankfully, we can turn to you for help. Thanks to pro bono partners like you, to our dynamic honorees, Lucy Fato and Eric Dinallo, to our staff, to our board, we can do more than ever before for low-income New Yorkers and their communities. And that's especially so if you fill out the pledge cards on your table. As Marian Wright Edelman, the inspirational head of the Children's Defense Fund, once noted, children can't lobby and can't vote. We must speak for them. So thank you all for coming here tonight, for supporting us, and for helping us to speak up for justice.
I'm incredibly proud of the work that our advocates have done over the past 2 years during COVID. We provide a vast range of civil legal services in the areas of
consumer rights,
access to education,
bankruptcy assistance,
civil rights,
language access. We have a family law unit,
housing,
disability rights,
elder law.
We also do a lot of work on behalf of immigrants,
workers' rights,
domestic violence,
LGBTQ advocacy,
foreclosure prevention,
homeowners' rights,
public benefits,
housing and tenants' rights,
taxpayer assistance,
the Veterans Justice Project.
We are able to help people who are being evicted from the only apartment they've ever lived in, people who aren't being paid wages by unscrupulous employers, people who are fleeing their home countries.
What people go through to take care of their families in New York City, these are really heroes.
Our clients are housekeepers, home health aides, police officers, school teachers, and we're doing everything we can to help them.
Every lawyer, in my mind, has a professional responsibility to give back.
If we continue to work in partnership, there should be no limit to what we can accomplish.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Vice Chair of Legal Services NYC, Liza Velasquez.
Good evening, everyone. Wow, it is bright. I'm here really just to offer a flesh and blood thank you. I'm delighted to be here, and on behalf of Legal Services, we are all so thrilled to be able to celebrate the important work of this great organization with you this evening. As you've seen, our dedicated attorneys and staff fight for justice every single day in every borough for income-challenged and underserved New Yorkers. And as we all know, the need for civil legal assistance has never been greater for tenants, for students, for essential workers, for survivors of abuse, for victims of discrimination, veterans, and New Yorkers threatened with the loss of essential benefits and services. Without your steadfast and generous support, the work of this great organization would not be possible, and so we are so grateful for all of you. Please enjoy the rest of your evening. There's more wonderful music from the band to come. There's dessert. We'll see you next year. Thank you.
sorry. I'm hearing your echo sometimes as well as I'm hearing you. No, no,